weekend?
I had an excellent weekend. How about yourself?
Just wonderful. The weather was just great, and lots of folks around. It seemed like a very, very nice weekend.
Yes, definitely. Lots of people in and around Main Street for sure. So, of course, you know, the summer may be here, but still lots of work to be done on the budget, and its operating budget is going to get kind of down into the nitty-gritty of that this week.
On June 4th, this Thursday, the Town Council will take up the operating budget. It's something that we work on really all year long, but this is the culmination of that. We have I've sent to the Town Council the summary that Mark Milne and I will be presenting to them, basically an overview of the budget on Thursday evening. We'll also hear from the community, the Comprehensive Financial Advisory Committee. They'll be doing a review of that they've looked at the budget. We have put online for citizens really an operating budget summary that's there that people can go. And for those that really like to get into, you know, numbers, we have our book on there, which you know, we will get comments from citizens. They take the time to look at it. It's a lot of information, but we try to distill it into our you know, priorities, what we're going to be doing. And the council is at our agenda setting meeting on last week with the council president. She's eager to try to do this in 2 meetings. So we'll see how far we get on the 4th. The next meeting would be on the 18th. We've got the meeting in the 11th in the middle that if we're not moving along quite as quickly as we would like, but we don't want councils to feel rushed in any way. It's a big budget. There are a lot of priorities, a lot of you know, issues that could be raised, and we want to be sure that everyone has a chance to look at that. So I thought what we might do today for viewers is to go over some of our priorities and let them know what we're looking at funding. So.
Absolutely. I did just want to mention a little bit about the summary and the budget that's online, is that it's really well organized. I think for people who want to see this, the summary is great. It really does provide a good overview of what you're looking for. And even if you do want to look at the massive document, it is separated out into sections. So if you want to kind of drill right down to, say, the police operating budget or the town manager's operating budget, you can do that in a fairly simple way. So it's
so
well
you've heard
organized.
it from your host. If you want to get in there and find out what the budget is, she's found that easy to go through. The first thing that we tried to do in the budget is we tried to look at the town council priorities. They spent a lot of time on a strategic plan, and I've tried to mimic and have my budget message follow that. So some of the town council priorities that were there were funding for quality of life initiatives. So we have money in there for senior services outreach. We took about $11,000 out of the solar funding that was actually operating out there at the senior center, put that into a full-time senior citizens outreach person to try to get to those isolated seniors to be sure that they're getting services and recognize any needs they might have. We're trying to attract a quality seasonal workforce. We increase the seasonal workforce pay, trying to be competitive with other towns around. That's a fairly expensive proposition, but it's something that all of our departments have been looking for over the past few years. We've enhanced our athletic field maintenance. We're going to be you know, adding a crew so we can get out there and keep those fields and all of the work that we have to do to keep all of our parks and fields mowed over the course of the summer season. I've enhanced the community impact unit. We're adding another officer. As a matter of fact, there are 2 officers coming into the police department this year, and one is to help with the downtown community impact unit. With the other officers going to be, well, we're actually enforcing the parking and licensing enforcement by having a full-time officer assigned to that, and then we're replacing that officer on the general patrol force with another officer. So council has talked a lot about parking enforcement and being sure that we're following those rules and regulations. We've made a further investment in our arts and culture. We've added $10,000 so we can promote the very events that we put together each year. We've got an investment of $27 million into our infrastructure. We do that through the course of the year with our capital improvement plan. We promote economic development through e-permitting, and we've done a housing needs assessment. I want you know, one thing that we do, that we try to do at the beginning of the budget, as we talk about our strong financial position. Again, the council, in looking at their strategic plan, rather than singling out the finances as a single priority, they made it as part of their wheel and basically the rim that said, if we don't have a strong financial position, we can't do the things that we need to do. So it's a structurally balanced budget. It's got strong reserve levels. We've once again maintained our AAA bond rating, which helps us save money with all of our capital projects. We've also once again been awarded financial reporting and budget awards this year by independent groups. We've got a clean audit opinions, and that may not be something exciting here at a little after 7 in the morning for people to get all eager about, but it's very important when we have independent groups come in, look at how we're spending money, how financial operation is working, to find out that you know, they're finding a very clean audit. We, of course, comply with the 10-year financial forecasting. We have a 5-year capital plan, and we're going to have new investment in financial transparency software. I'm sure that Mark Milne, our finance director, will be talking about that in a little more depth. But one thing we added money for this year is programming, where we're going to be take these devices like the one I'm working off right now. People at home are going to be able to look at it, and they're going to be able to see exactly where our money is going through this new software. So we're kind of excited about that.
You know, it's really interesting, and Mark touched on it when we talked last week, and it really seems like a fascinating project. Of course, you know, people are so fascinated, and they really want to know where all the money's going and how it's being spent, and so I think this will be a very useful tool. Probably open up some more questions from the public, for sure, but you know, that transparency, I think, is a great thing for the public to be able to have.
So our financial 2016 funding priorities include public safety at the two new sworn officers I mentioned. We've got $339,000 in there for marked cruisers, technology, firearms, and defibrillator replacements. We've got $72,000 in there for officer recruitment. We've had a lot of turnover in the past year, and the $72,000 will cover things like the police academy and new uniforms, things of that nature. Then under employee safety, we do have funds in there for safety awareness and training, new funding this year. Under public works, as I mentioned, we have the new athletic field maintenance crew, and we've increased funds for equipment maintenance, something that we need to do all the time. Under technology, we're investing again in e-permitting to make that happen, and we have $150,000 for hardware and software upgrades. We support the education budget that Dr. Mary and the school committee spent a lot of time putting together. They've got funding for their new preschool center. They've got funding for the mass tiered system of support that's in there, and they've got funding for the English language learners. And you know, it's kind of today's kind of bittersweet because we're having our last meeting with Dr. Mary every morning. Every Monday morning we meet at 8:30 to 9:30 with her financial folks and our staff, and it's been something that, you know, I valued because we get to know what the school department's doing. They're our largest budget that's out there. I think it's been a very cooperative relationship. And it would be nice if she were around and could actually visit us.
Well, funny you should say that.
Dr. Mary sitting right over there. Come in, please.
Let's see if...
There she is.
Hello.
We're going to miss you.
Good morning. Good morning, Mary. Thank you so much for coming in. So yes, it's nice. Now I have both my live guests on.
So you're a short timer, huh?
Yes, it is bittersweet, as you said, Tom. You know, I was highly recruited for Lexington, and you know, it was an opportunity that I needed to look at. And but you know, it's going to be missing the people the most. I think we've had a great relationship here. I've really, really enjoyed working with your staff and your entire team, and you know, the school committee has just been so supportive and collaborative, and it's been a pleasure to work with. So it is my last week here. My last official day will be on Saturday, graduation, which is this Saturday, June 6th.
A time of hope, a time of...
And it's going to be beautiful weather, you know, so we're looking for sunshine this week, but certainly a busy week.
Well, we've been lucky in the school department. You know, Dr. Grenier was a very strong leader, and her skills you followed here and just brought us up another notch, I think. So the school committee's got its work cut out for itself to, choose a new leader, but we have a great deal of confidence in them. And Bill Butler, who's been the town attorney, is going to be the interim school superintendent, and I think he's going to, he's been in on all our meetings that we've had every week, so looking forward to working with him.
Absolutely, and I was listening to what you were saying earlier this morning about the strategic plan of the town council, and I can recall our joint commission that we had a public hearing on Chapter 70,
Yes,
and we were very well received by the Board of Education in giving our testimony here about the need for more funding for public education. So, as you said, it's been a great 4 years. It's hard to believe that I think we came in together.
I think we did.
So we took the helm
Yes,
around the same time,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's been, as I said, a good run.
It was at that Chapter 70 meeting, we explained how our school and municipal consolidated budget worked, and I did quite a bit of that. You reinforced that. We were looking at, I'm watching the panel of some, dozen or more, statewide leaders in education, and you could see that they weren't quite getting it, because even though we've been operating under it now for probably about 8 years, and it's really functioned very, very well for us, people still are kind of in awe that we can sit and talk and work out the finances and not be in the newspaper with surprises about contractual obligations or something like that. We're planned for that, and I think it's helped you to be able to develop your curriculum and the things that you want to concentrate on.
Absolutely, it has.
Great, great. Well,
Am
Tom,
I off?
I think so. Well, what we're going to do is thank you so much for coming in and joining us as always, and we'll, I think, continue talking a little more about the budget next week.
Next
and
week,
all
we'll
sorts of
see
good
what
stuff, but
we'll see whether the town council gets this Thursday with their budget, and then we'll move on from there. So.
absolutely, and more with Dr. Czajkowski next. But first, let's get our Barnstable This Morning edition.